Welcome everybody to the zoning board meeting of November 15th, 2016. My name is Marty Akins. I'm the chair. To my left, the vice chair, Mr. Cabeas. Board members, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Himmel, Mr. Chin. The head of inspectional services in the rear, Commissioner Duca. To my right and left, our clerk, Miss Murphy. If you have a cell phone or a pager, could you please put it on silent or vibrate? Not to interrupt the meeting. If anyone's going to testify, would you please stand up and raise your right hand? If anyone's going to testify tonight.
All right, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Let's see.
We have a motion to waive the reading in the minutes of October 25th, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes from October 25th.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I have a letter here from Boston Properties Development on Bridge Street. They want to move the meeting to December 13th. Is there anyone here for that?
Yes.
Council?
Nothing further other than the letter. As we took from the board during the last of the initial hearings, it was clear to us that the board wanted the planning board to first vote on this matter. It's been continued a couple times before the planning board and most recently until their December hearing. The issues that we're dealing with still are the really issues related to the National Park Service and the impact of the view of the building on the National Park. So we're continuing to work through that. We're hopeful that we'll have a vote by the meeting in December, or at least a recommendation from the planning board that we can then present.
Thank you, Council. Can I have a motion, please?
Matter number 16-058, Boston Properties Development LLC for a variance to construct a 60-unit multifamily residential building on the premises number 23 and 31 Bridge Street, Quincy. I make a motion to continue the hearing until December 13th.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Margaret LaFlores asked to hold her cases. She's in another meeting. She'll be coming here. So that's Kilby Street, Quasi Street, and Shannon Street. If there's anyone here for that, she'll be in a few minutes, I guess. Further on old business, case number 16062. Catan Patel for variance to increase the building square footage from 370 square feet, 377 Willett Street. Is the applicant their representative here? Name and address?
Good evening. My name is Pat Fisher. I'm the architect for the client. My address is 35 Fisher Road, Weymouth, Massachusetts. And this is my client, Keaton Patel.
Address?
My address is 20 Blossom Street, Waltham, Mass.
You have the floor.
Thank you. My client, Keaton Patel, is the owner of the UPS store here in Quincy, which was located for 7 years, give or take, on Adams Street. In winter of February 2015, there was a roof collapse, and he had to leave his store. After a number of false starts and stops, the building has still not been repaired. So he has given up hopes of getting back into that building and has purchased the building at 377 Willett Street, the old Mr. Tuck's building. He's applied for and granted a building permit and is building his UPS store on the first floor of that building. Now, when the building was originally permitted, it was permitted for a second story of 600 square feet. Only 360 square feet were built on that upper level. He would now like to increase the size of that upper level, all within the envelope of the building, from the size that it is now, an additional 370 square feet. So it'll be a total of 730 square feet, 130 above the original permitted size of that building. In addition to that, we would like permission as needed to install a vertical platform lift, depending upon who it is that leases that space. If they're required to have public access, they would need a vertical platform lift.
To walk to the second floor, you mean for
Yes,
storage?
yeah.
Not for ADA compliant.
For ADA.
Well, the ADA, yeah.
Okay.
Well, in Massachusetts, it's AAB.
All right.
Any questions to the applicant? I don't have any, I looked at your application.
I don't have any either.
No, we didn't. No. Questions?
Thank you. You can have a seat. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in favor? Speak in favor, first call, second call. Third call, call upon the hearing closed. I have a letter here from the DPW, 377 Willard Street. We have reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call closed. Can I have a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Matter number 16-062, Ken Patel for a variance to increase building square footage by 307 square feet by enlarging existing interior mezzanine on the premises number 377 Wall Street, Quincy. I make a motion to grant the variance.
Second.
Second?
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Further on the old business, case number 16066, Parsons Square Realty, for a special permit to construct a drive-through window to serve the existing Panera Bread, 200 Hancock Street. The applicant and representative here. Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Edward Fleming. I'm here on behalf of Park Street Realty Corp. Park Street is the owner of the property known as, by the assessment plans, as 200 Hancock Street, better known as the Panera Bread and Applebee's facility in North Quincy. That site, as the board may know, and certainly Mr. Covance may know, was the former DiMatteo construction yard years ago when those two buildings were constructed on the site. Joining me tonight, Mr. Bob Considine from the Park Street Realty, John Morgan from Kohler and Colatonio, the traffic engineer, and John Buck from the Panera Bread, along with Tim from who's the Quincy manager of the store. Before I ask them to speak about the matter, I'd like to just give you a little bit of background, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Morgan to talk about the traffic and the circulation of the traffic for this proposed drive-through facility. First of all, the property at 200 Hancock Street is an 89,298 square foot parcel of land zoned. It's a commercial site, always been utilized as a commercial site. It's located in a business B zoning district. It's a large site with the two restaurants and about 122 parking spaces. So it gives quite a bit of room for movement of the vehicles and pedestrians in that particular location off of Hancock Street. What we're seeking tonight is a special permit. As this board is well aware, the City Council, in enacting the ordinance or changes to the ordinance, required that any drive-through facility require a special permit from this body, so that this body has the opportunity, along with the city departments, to review all of the matters related to the drive-through facility. So it's specifically dealing with two sections of the ordinance. Title 17, Section 9.4, which is the special permit regulation, and also the table of use regulations, Section G, where we talk about drive-through uses. And that's what brings us here tonight before you. As the board is probably very familiar, a lot of these different locations and different restaurant uses have sought and obtained drive-through facilities. And Panera Bread, although when they constructed this site initially, didn't seek a drive-through facility, their business model has changed over the years, and they've added drive-through facilities to a number of their locations throughout the country. Jason can talk about that in a little bit more detail, about the need for that drive-through type of operation. The proposal includes the construction of a new drive-through facility and drive-through window. The queue that's provided on the site provides for a queue of 8 cars within the drive-through. And again, Jason will talk about how that is really consistent with their model throughout the country. and that is adequate to service their needs. Much unlike a Dunkin' Donuts facility, which and requires a larger and a longer drive-through or queue, the eight-car queue at a Panera Bread is sufficient to satisfy their needs. Drainage measures will be undertaken to deal with the additional runoff created by the new driveway facility. And special measures have been taken to design this drive-through to ensure and address concerns that the city has raised through its departments, especially the traffic department, to ensure that there's no backup of traffic onto Hancock Street, which, as the board knows, is a very well-traveled roadway. Certainly in the North Quincy area is very busy. There will be installation of signage throughout the parking area to provide and require that traffic flow and drive through the parking area before it enters into the drive-through facility. And that signage will be well marked as parties enter into the drive-through. And the large parking area, as we talked about, provides a sufficient amount of area for the cars to fully pull in off of Hancock Street and drive through the parking lot before they enter the drive-through facility. This process started about 3 years ago, believe it or not. We had our initial neighborhood meeting about 3 years ago when we sent notice to the entire Ward 6 community. Not just the neighborhood, the entire Ward 6 community, and 3 people showed up at the neighborhood meeting. There was very little concern expressed during that meeting. There's been very little concern expressed by the departments as we've gone through this process. We started it, we stopped because there was some discussion with Panera Bread on the leasing arrangements, and then we started this process again. We're confident that this will work and work well for this particular facility. And as I said, significant measures were taken to design this in a way that would ensure that traffic pull fully into the site and circle through the site. And I know you're looking at the plans with the arrows, and it seems relatively confusing, but there was reason why we did it in the manner we did, so that it prohibits traffic from pulling directly into the drive-through facility so that it wouldn't back up onto the street. And it requires that traffic flow through the parking lot before they enter that area. So without that, I'd like to turn this over first to John Morgan, who would talk about a little bit about the traffic report that was done, but also to explain the site in more detail.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is John Morgan. I'm a professional traffic engineer with the firm of CHA Consulting Inc. out of Norwell. And CHA has reviewed the expected traffic.
Address, please.
It's 101 Acord Park Drive in Norwell.
Thank you.
We've reviewed the expected traffic operations at the site, both at the site driveways and internal to the site, and we also looked at the drive-through operations. We prepared a traffic and safety memorandum back in 2013, and we documented our findings, and we updated that memo with an update in June of 2016. We performed traffic counts back in 2013 on each of the adjacent streets on Kendall and as well as Hancock. There were 19,000 vehicles a day on Hancock Street and about 1,300 on Kendall Street. We also performed peak hour traffic counts at each of the site driveways, AM peak, PM peak, and Saturday peak hour. So we took all that information at peak hours and did an analysis of how each of the driveways was operating and found that there were no significant delays. Everything worked at an adequate level of service. This was a measure of how well the capacity at an intersection is. So we didn't see any issues there. And really it's attributed to the fact that there's 3 different ways to get in and out of the site. So if one curb cut is busy, you can go to the other curb cut to exit the site if you chose. So in order to estimate the number of vehicles that we think would utilize the proposed drive-through, we examined a similar site, Panera Bread site, with a drive-through and at a site in Brockton on Route 123 in Brockton, which has a similar volume of traffic on the roadway. So we expect that this site would operate very similar to the one at that location. Sure.
You talk about 123 in Brockton, and that goes through the city, and it's pretty much that's what it does, in city of Brockton. At 7:45 in the morning, Hancock Street is backed up to your client's spot going over to the Ponza River. And I've noticed this in September, I don't go that way to work. I have to go to Swan to work, and I don't go there because it's backed up every single day. So does Brockton have an attraction like the Ponza River Bridge? It doesn't seem to me that it does. And so it seems to me this is really apples and oranges.
Yeah, the daily traffic, average daily traffic for that site on Route 123 is similar to the 19,000 vehicles per day that are on vehicles.
But at that time in the morning, is this close to that?
I don't have the exact morning counts from Brockton, but it may be a little bit less.
There is a high school there, and that street's impassable from 2:30 to 3 o'clock every day, during school hours, school days. Okay. Continue, I'm sorry. Sure.
So what we found at the other drive-through site in Brockton is that the drive-through had about 22 vehicles use the drive-through in the AM peak hour and 24 in the PM peak hour. We expect similar volumes at this site. The service time at the Brockton site is about a little over 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 10 seconds per customer. At that rate, a drive-through could process about 28 vehicles per hour. So we do not anticipate that you're going to get this type of volume that Dunkin' Donuts would get, which we've measured at about 30 seconds for service time in the past doing studies, and getting over 100 vehicles per hour going through the drive-through at a Dunkin' Donuts. This is a different type of operation, and we anticipate much less volume. Of these new 24 trips, 24 vehicles that would use this drive-through, some of these trips would already be vehicles that patronize the site. They'd be existing customers who just choose to use the drive-through instead of using the counter service. There'd also be some pass-by traffic. So some of these trips are vehicles that are already on Hancock Street. They're going to pull in, use the drive-through, come out. So there's not going to be a lot of new traffic added to Hancock Street just because of an added drive-through at the Panera site. So based on all of this, we do not see any significant change when we add these new trips with curb cuts. We don't see any new problems entering or exiting the site. We ran the capacity analysis over again with the added trips. There was no real significant change in level of service. So we also looked at reviewing the drive-through operation itself. We looked at what the maximum queues were at the Brockton site. There were only an average of 2 vehicles in the queue during the peak hour, with a maximum of 4. And then what we did was we measured this, we observed the drive-through for a couple hours during the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon. Those were the observations. So we expect similar queues in our drive-through in Quincy. The design of this drive-through has been designed for storage of up to 8 vehicles, which is double the maximum we saw present in Brockton. So there's room for, if this does have a higher queue, there is room. We have twice as much storage. This was what we observed as needed in Brockton. We also looked at site circulation as part of our study. So what we, as the plan that has been submitted shows, the site circulation, people won't be able to, will be directed not to pull directly into the drive-through lane from Hancock Street. we'll have signs that will direct you to follow the path of the blue circulation as you enter, to go around and pull in and come this way. The layout of the drive-through has been also designed to discourage and probably prohibit most vehicles from actually being able to make that turn into that drive-through lane. You'd have to have a pretty small car to be able to do it based on the way you design that drive-through. And the intention of this is to prevent spillback into Hancock Street. If, for some reason, the queue did exceed those 8 vehicles, we don't want vehicles to spill back into Hancock Street and disrupt traffic out on the main road. We want the vehicles to be coming into the drive-through lane from the site, either from this direction. We anticipate most of them coming from this direction. You could pull in from this direction and into the site, into the drive-through lane. But if the queues exceed those 8 vehicles, they'd be queuing up within the site, and they wouldn't impact Hancock Street. So we would have signs, as you pull in, there'd be a sign here that tells you to go this way for the drive-through. There'd be another sign here that tells you to turn this way, another sign here that tells you to turn this way, and then another sign that tells you to turn this way. So there'll be a sign on each corner that tells you this is the way the drive-through circulation is intended to be. Exiting the drive-through, you're going to be exiting towards the rear of the building, coming out through this parking lot. Really, you could choose which exit you want to exit from. There's no restrictions. So we have 3 different driveways to disperse the traffic. So I guess in conclusion, our findings were that there are the number of new trips expected at the site overall is expected to be minor. We don't see any major impacts on our driveways. They should still function. The capacity says they will function at adequate level of service. The storage for the drive-through is adequate, and we anticipate the way we have it laid out, we will not have spillback out onto Hancock Street.
But I have,
Any
Jason.
questions?
I'm sorry.
Any questions?
No, this time.
Jim?
I have a question. If Panera Bread is going to this much trouble and expense to put in this drive-through, how can we expect them not to expect additional customers and traffic flow and people driving in?
That might be better answered by
Yeah, I can
Jason
answer that.
Burke.
Yeah, when you're done, I have another question for them.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You want my first? Okay. Yeah, so
Why don't you identify yourself first?
Jason Berg, 45 Taylor Court, Streamwood, Illinois, actually.
What do you do?
I'm the director of construction for Panera. I'm sorry, your question was, what are we, okay, yes, okay. One of the main reasons for the drive-through is to free up our dining rooms. So I was there this afternoon, our architect was there, and the dining room was absolutely jam-packed. Adding a drive-through is going to relieve some of that stress. It's going to give some more room to our guests that want to come in and dine in.
Couldn't people just get their food to go?
Absolutely. And that's what they're doing right now. And we've implemented a new program, Rapid Pickup. If you're familiar with it, you can order from your cell phone and you can come pick it up and walk in and park, or walk in and pull right out. And you'll still be able to do that with the drive-through in place.
And some places actually have people that will bring the food out to your car as you sit in your car.
Yes.
Which includes the need for a drive-through.
So I'm not saying that we can't do that. I'm just saying that that's something that we don't have a program in place for.
My concern is that if a drive-through is allowed, Panera Bread decides to vacate these premises, or bifurcate the building and rent out one half to Dunkin' Donuts, for example, with the drive-through.
Yeah.
We're not looking at 8 cars.
No, you're looking at considerably more. So this is a little crazy, right? And I saw you a moment ago going, holy cow, what are these people going to do? So one of the things we do, I think...
They're not going to do that.
Well, they're going to. They're going to, and I'm going to tell you why. So one of the things that we do really well is not only do we train our employees, but we train our guests. So when you come in to order your meal, after you've been there a couple of times, we kind of help you along, and you become a little more smooth and know to order. You pick 2, and you get this, and you know the side item, and you move a little bit faster, and we move a little bit faster. just as we're going to do this. So one of the things that we also do is we put cameras on the outside of the building. We're not talking cameras, right? We're talking little cameras on the outside of the building, and they're monitored from our drive-through employees all day. So one of the conversations that came up is how are we going to make sure, right? How are we going to make sure our customers are going to be doing this? Well, one, right, this little, I call this a little pork chop. I don't know if that's the right technical term, but right, so it's I don't know that it's even possible in a small car. As you mentioned, it's very difficult to make that, to negotiate that turn any other way. But you're really going to be forced to do this. So I mentioned we have people in our drive-through, watching these monitors to see, one, if there's guests at our order monitor, to see if there's any guests that are having any difficulty throughout. They'll come out and they'll work with our, if they need to come out and explain to our guests, this is the path that we need to follow to get you through there. That's how we'll manage it. So that will, if you have, there's a one there, that's a mistake, but there's 8 vehicles to here. If a Dunkin' Donuts were to come in, there's still.
I don't know how long you've been driving in Massachusetts, but I've been driving here for a long time. And in terms of training people how to drive and changing behavior, I think this is got to be one of the toughest places.
It's going to be difficult. No, you're absolutely right.
So with respect to your pork
You're
chop,
absolutely, and that's the reason why we designed, that's the exact reason why this was
so
designed
with
this
respect to
way.
your pork chop, design, to use your term,
I know, you're right.
I see cars swerving into the oncoming lane and coming
Sure.
around to beat the pork chop design,
Sure.
rather than following all those arrows that you
Sure.
have there. People in Massachusetts, they want a direct route in and out. They just want to get in, they want to get out. They're not going to follow signs, arrows. It looks great in theory.
Sure.
Okay. But I gotta believe that people are going to get backed up on this street if your drive-through is as successful as you want it to be.
Sure.
Or if someone else takes over the space that has a kind of facility that needs a drive-through more than Panera Bread,
Sure.
it's going to back up into handcuffs.
So two things I can add to that. Sorry.
Just to respond to your comment about it, what if a Dunkin' Donuts takes over that space? Well, that Dunkin' Donuts will need a common victual license from the city's licensing board. And that's in the city's licensing board, as Jay Duca sits on that licensing board as the Director of Inspectional Services, understands the demands that Dunkin' Donuts has and the requirements that Dunkin' Donuts has for a drive-through. I would be hard pressed to believe that they would permit a Dunkin' Donuts to simply take over that facility unless there were modifications made to the drive-through to provide for probably 12 or more cars in their queue. And at this location, that probably wouldn't be palatable.
It's an 89,000 square foot piece of land.
So it probably would require the rebuild of a new facility to service that kind of a Dunkin' Donuts
But
drive-through.
council, we're not just talking about Dunkin' Donuts, it could be lots of other things.
But right, but all of those uses would require a common victual license to take over the drive-through facility. The only reason I'm saying that is because this board can entertain it for the Panera Bread use, as opposed to worrying about what other use may go there. Because if that other use were to go there, they're gonna have to go through the level of permit that would be required. I just wanted to respond to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Thank you.
Okay.
No further questions.
Is there any more?
I have a question.
Sure.
On the queue, is all that on site? When you come up and give your order, do you give your order to Chicago or do you give your order to Panera Bread there?
Everything is done right
Everything's
there.
on site.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that's also different about, so we talk about speed of service a lot.
McDonald's does it for speed of service.
I'm sorry?
Wendy's and all, they all do it for speed of service.
No, and that's absolutely right. And when you come to the drive-through, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
The drive-through is actually faster than coming inside the restaurant. So the short explanation, I'll make it as quickly as possible, is when you come into the restaurant, there are 5 registers.
I believe that.
So you have 5 different people sending orders to one sandwich maker and one salad maker. When you come into the drive-through, you have one person placing an order because there's only one ordering window, right? Or speaker post, we'll call it, right? And that's going
You're
to,
using this.
not in the drive-through,
Oh,
not in the drive-through.
not
Sorry?
yet. Not yet.
I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow. That's not a conversation. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's not a conversation right now. And when you're coming into the drive-through, there's one speaker post, there's one person ordering to one salad and one sandwich maker. So you're literally 5 times as fast in the drive-through than coming back.
So that's completely separate?
It is 100% separate, and we have, it may not mean much to you, but we have it not there. Yes. It is self-sustaining, if you will.
Right.
Everything is
Its own
completely
building
separate.
almost, you're saying. So, in the
Yeah,
building.
obviously they share some things,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they are self-sufficient. I mean, in addition to that, we'll add probably a dozen people onto our, dozen employees into the building to help staff the drive-through.
Dozen people for one salad maker and one sandwich maker?
3 shifts a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Okay.
And somebody's got to take your order, and someone's got to take your money, and someone's got to make the sandwich and make the salad, and put it together.
If you're done, you can sit down.
Okay.
Anything else, Council?
No, that's the applicant's presentation. We're certainly here to answer any questions and concerns the board may have. The other thing that we also spoke about, I know Jason highlighted initially in the comments, is that because of the camera system, there would be the employees within the facility would be directed and educated on the route of travel that the cars must take as they enter into the drive-thru facility, and that would be enforced as part of their training to ensure that the vehicles do not back up into the roadway. The great advantage of this site, and I understand the concern about the circuitous route of travel as Mr. Chen raised. The great advantage of this site is a few different things that Dunkin' Donuts and the other facilities don't have. One is space. In this particular location, there's a significant amount of space because of the large site that's involved. So there's many routes of travel that vehicles can travel through the site. And the other advantage is also that there's 3 egresses to and from the site, so that there's less of a risk of a backup if any of these entranceways back up because of the additional route of traffic that's generated by the drive-thru facility. And to address your issues and concerns about the morning, is that it does back up in the morning, but this, as indicated by the traffic report, will not generate a significant amount of new traffic within the morning, and much of that traffic that will utilize the drive-thru will be pass-by traffic that already passed by that intersection. And as Panera Bread's busy hours are typically not the morning as much as it is the midday from 11 till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's when it will be utilized even more so than the morning hours. The fact that traffic backs up in that area, as you said, Mr. Cabeas, scares you away from traveling in that direction. So that therefore others won't travel in that direction if they feel as though they're going to be caught in those traffic jams, and they won't utilize this for
You
traffic.
understand that there's a contradiction. You want to have it both ways. It's not going to cause a lot of traffic, because I don't think that many people using it, but we really need to have
11
it
to 2.
because we have to.
But I say 11 to 2 are their busier hours, their lunchtime hours. And that's what their records indicate, is that 11 to 2 is really where they anticipate attracting more visitors to that site. Whereas the morning hours will be really mostly pass-by traffic as indicated by John during the traffic.
There's a lot of people there in the mornings.
So I have, and I'm sorry for not sharing this earlier. So the average drive-through cars that we see in the Massachusetts market from open till 9 a.m. from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. is 55 vehicles. From 9 to 11 is 38, and from 11 to 2, lunchtime is 111 vehicles. 2 to 5 in the midday, from 2 to 5 is 70, and then from 5 p.m. to close, there's 92 vehicles. So it is the 11 to 2 hour that's the.
Mr. Chin, you had a question, another question?
I think it was addressed by
Okay.
the other gentleman.
Any other questions, Leon?
I am.
So, Brian?
What, the problem that I have with it, okay, is whatever's going on Hancock Street's gonna go on anyway. And regardless, you're gonna add cars in there at some point. You're gonna add customers to the business. Not, I believe that sincerely. There's no way that you can convince me that you're not gonna have business. The one thing that I see is the conflicts within the parking lot impacting the traffic on Hancock. You got people crisscrossing each other. You got the people coming out of the dining room, walking out into the middle of that. The driveway entrance to the drive-up. And you got cars coming out the same way. They're in line to get into the queue, and then after they circulate the building, they're coming back out to get out on the street. Which to me just adds to the confusion that the pedestrians and the people that are driving the cars are gonna see.
Sure,
So
so,
the high school kids will get there for you?
Well, not even that, I mean, you know, I just see that people that are gonna come in and are gonna have, it's like, the way that I look at it, it's like you're squeezing 6 cars into a 3-car space.
so our busiest day part, as we call it, is lunch from 11 to 2. And as I mentioned, the average is 111 vehicles in those 3 hours. So we're looking at less than 30 vehicles per hour. With the multiple, I'm sorry,
Same as one, it's 55, you said, 2 hours, 7 and 9.
6 to 9. But either way, but considerably less people in the parking lot in the morning than there is between 11 and 2. But with those 30 vehicles per hour, we also have the 3 means of egress to get in and out of the parking lot. So there's not it's not a concern that we have for safety of our employees or our guests at all.
But it's a concern that I have.
I understand.
Because I believe that you're creating conflicts in that parking lot today at 3 different points that don't exist there now. And because of the route that they have to take to make sure that you're not gonna back up Hancock. They're crisscrossing each other at the entrance twice. Because you're bringing them in, you're making them take a left, then they're gonna take a right to come back, to get back in the queue to get in the window.
Sure.
And then after they come out of the window, they're gonna be conflicting with the people that are getting in the line to get in the window to get out of the site. And most people that I think, if I go in there to get a cup of coffee and I come in that driveway, 90% of the time I'm gonna go up that drive. I'm not even gonna look at the one up on Applebee's. That's just my opinion, that's the way that I drive. And I think
If you're sitting here, you may change your mind and you may want to go to it.
right, but the other thing is I'm seeing a conflict with the pedestrians, the people coming out of the restaurant that are in the parking area and going in. That's what I see. I don't see how you resolve that if you leave the entranceway where it is and you have those cars coming in and out of that driveway.
So we designed this way because of the concern we believe was going to be an issue with cars backing up on Hancock. That was going to be your concern. And I bring it up that way because we have I shouldn't say all of our restaurants, but our ideal is to have 6-car stack from the window where we are not seeing a backup. So in a situation where we know there is no history of this, we would have as many as we could. But the way the design of the building goes is 6 would be sufficient from the order of the building. We don't see the guests that, this is a crazy travel path. You're absolutely right. When this car is the first car in the morning or in the middle of lunch, however it is they're going to be making this turn. But we're not adding us, this is only a direction. This isn't, 30 vehicles.
My point is what you're doing is you're putting the people that are leaving the window back in the queue.
Yeah, so as John mentioned, potentially, but if I make that left turn, but as soon as I come out here and I see that which I don't believe there's going to be,
And I believe they're
waiting here, their option is to come out to the north or to come out to the second entrance as well.
I'm gonna tell you, the first time that you have a snowy morning going over the Ponset River Bridge, You're gonna fill that parking lot in about 8 minutes. And that line is gonna be up in Applebee's, there'll be people getting out of there. Trust me. That's a crazy place. And as soon as the snow starts to fall and that traffic starts to slow down at those lights, I drove it. For 15 years, I drove that route. And there's no way that you're gonna convince me that there's not gonna be more people in that restaurant as soon as that snow flies and that starts. And you create more conflicts with it going that way. I'm just telling you from experience of riding that route every day for 15 years.
What are the hours of operation down there? Because he's talking about 7 days, hiring people 24 hours. It's not open 24 hours.
5:30 till 10? Till 10.
5:30.
5:30 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question for the
Yes.
traffic study done for Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan, I'm looking at page 1 of your memo of June 23. I have a question about the figures, the calculated figures, and just difference between 2013 volumes and 2016 volumes. I live in North Quincy, and I work at 400 Hancock Street, which is not far from 200 Hancock Street, so I'm somewhat familiar with this area. In your report says that there's a decrease in the volume of traffic, a significant decrease on weekdays. And the number of cars that you measured on Saturday, 2013 and 2016, is exactly the same. Can you explain to me, number one, the reason for the reduction in the traffic flow over the past 3 years, which I haven't experienced? And also how you get an exact number 3 years.
All right, I'll start with the difference. I mean, the traffic volumes can vary from day to day, plus or minus 10% over a given day. So we counted over a 48-hour period, took the average of those 2 days, 2 different times. It is possible that the day we counted, maybe there was something going on in the area, but we didn't observe anything. But our finding was that the traffic was similar, it was within 10%. There's no guarantee exactly why that happened. But
May I ask you how many times you measure, or is it just the one time you take that measurement?
we counted for 48 hours. Just one time. The fact that the traffic on Saturday came out to be exact is a coincidence. It was rounded off. All of our volumes are rounded off to the nearest 5, so they may not have been exactly 11:30. We round off to the nearest 5 vehicles.
I'm not trying to be facetious, but did you measure on a holiday?
No, we always make sure that if the school is open, that it's not holidays.
As typical of a day as possible.
How about when they were constructing Hancock and East Warren? I'm thinking that there'd be a diminishment of people going into that area with that heavy construction when they did the widening in there.
Yeah, our count was done on Thursday, May 16th, Thursday, May 19th, and Friday, May 20th of this year, our most recent count.
Structure was already done by then.
Thank you. No problem.
Mr. Chairman,
Anything else? Yes.
I have a question of the Panera representative. How many other stores locally do you require your guests to cut across the entry and exits of your drive-up?
No, you're asking, I can't answer that question.
Are you aware of any?
I'm aware, so what I can tell you is we also have some, we also own Wendy's throughout the country.
Okay, but I was
And-
asking about Panera.
Well-
And how many drive-throughs do you require locally? You said you couldn't answer.
Well, what I can tell you is that every restaurant that we have, every Wendy's has a drive-through, that's why I'm referring to that. But every restaurant has a cross area in order to get the cars close to the building. So
But how many of those cross areas require your guest to cross them to get to the building, is what I'm saying. How many of your Panera stores locally require a guest to go across entry and exit of your drive-up?
Well, it would be every restaurant.
Every restaurant.
It would be,
Every
I can't,
drive-thru.
I don't know that I can, every restaurant that has a circular drive to it. Every restaurant that has a circular drive to it, right? If I'm envisioning a drive-through, okay? And if the, kind of talking through this as we're figuring this out, right? There has to be, the cars are going to have to cross it. The customers are going to have to cross it in every situation. So at some point, in order to get the vehicle that close to the building.
Well, I don't know, drive-throughs, I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I walk across the street and I walk right in the front door. I don't cut.
Well, that's why I mentioned that has the circular drive all the way around the building.
The one piece out of North Quincy did have exactly what this gentleman was talking about, and it was very, very dangerous.
And they gotta be done.
Well, they
Come in that lane.
That's what it is. Most of the distribution, you're not gonna let you put on one side, you go to the other side, and that's what I'm seeing, is that the circulation of going back to 2 or 3 times, and we're back to 5 times.
Are any other questions to the applicant? No.
Thank you.
That's time, thank you.
Thank you. Counsel, you wanna wrap up? Anything? All set?
That's the applicant.
Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Anybody here want to speak in favor? First call, second call, third call closed. Correspondence. DPW wrote a letter on October 5th, case, and they have no comment. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Dustin Armstrong. I live at 26 Price Street. This is my wife, Vicki Wong. I'm also the chairman of the 22 Price Street Trust that is made up of 2 residential buildings and 4 units that are butters directly on the east side of Panera, which they obviously don't show on this, but at the end of Price Street, there's residential construction. And just to give you an idea, the last year, we've had the Creedon North Quincy High School Development Project, football field developed. So we've had a construction project ongoing on 2 sides of our property for the last year. We both work at home, and this has been 7 to 5 p.m. now, including Saturdays. And to put in perspective, Panera is more of a problem with noise throughout the night than this construction's been ongoing. They've been a horrible actor as a neighbor to our 4 units. The noise is not just delivery trucks that come throughout the night. They're freezer trucks that have generators between the cabin and the actual cargo truck. And we confronted drivers at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, leaving these large generators running. They say we can't shut it off because the dough will rise. So this happens on a daily basis. We also have, they pump grease out of the septic system behind the unit. That happens multiple times a week or a month. In the middle of the night, a pump running and a truck sucking up grease from the development. So I can only imagine more traffic. What's that going to do? How much more frequent are they going to have to set grease up? Also, with regards to trash that blows from their facility, we now, on the eastern part of our property with the field development, we have a large scoreboard and a huge net for the goalpost, directly within feet running our entire property line, and an 8-foot fence. Trash from Panera already blows and collects along this fence. We have pictures of seasons of trash just being left there and not cleaned up. This is like a huge ongoing problem. We wrote a letter, we have pictures here. We called the police at night. We've contacted the lieutenant community police officer. He talked to Panera, supposedly communicated to us that they would try to make deliveries closer to 5:30 or 6. And it just hasn't happened. There's been no change. This is unbelievable. The audacity of these people to come here and ask this is just unbelievable to me and our neighbors. And if this goes forward, there's just nothing that we could believe of respect and lack of respect given to community Quincy homeowners that live at that location.
Armstrong, you would like to speak?
Yeah, I would just like to second what my husband has said. As far as I'm aware, the city of Quincy does have a noise ordinance, and Panera has, to my knowledge, not abided by this ordinance at all whatsoever. They have deliveries between 11 p.m., we've counted 11 p.m. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. at all different nights of the week. And it's not just delivery, but we hear the exact time that they pull in all of the reverse beeping noises, beep, 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 until they stop. We hear the slamming of the delivery man door when he gets out of the truck. We hear when the back door of the truck opens and closes, when they're unloading. We hear the entire duration of the delivery. And as you can imagine, when you wake up and the delivery lasts 20 some odd minutes, you're up. It's very difficult to fall back asleep. And this isn't a once a week occurrence.
You file complaints?
I've talked to the counselor at large. I've talked to the Ward 6 counselor. We got a call from the community, I think, services liaison from the police department. And I don't think he quite understood, because this was a conversation over the phone, I don't think he quite understood the extent to which this was happening and has been sort of accumulating and impacting our ability to, sleep well at night.
So the answer is yes. You have.
Yes. Oh, please. We have videos where in the middle of the night we wake up, we go talk to the driver, say you can't leave the car running. He says, I can't shut off this generator.
I get it. I think we get it.
And I'll just second your point about traffic. I mean, mostly work at home. Some days I do have to commute in the morning. Trying to get from Price to Kendall, I can't pull out of that street. It's completely blocked. And it's just like that. In the new field development, there's already more traffic and excitement. There's going to be more uses there with the school. It's just...
Right, even if people were to take the secondary exit off of Kendall, that would then thus create more traffic on Kendall. And as you know, Kendall already has one side street parking, so you're constantly sort of curving in and out to get even through Kendall. So I don't see a scenario where you're sort of going to lighten traffic and make everything go away. Traffic from 7 to 10 a.m. in the morning on Hancock going north over Neponset, it's taken me an hour sometimes to get to 93, and you're not even on the highway, to get to where you're going.
And
so,
not to interrupt you, but we have a lot of cases tonight. We have like 10 cases.
Okay, I understand.
And we went to a traffic report. We get it. We live in the city. We really get that.
Okay, we just
Thank
like
you.
you to hear it from a resident's perspective that's living through it.
And other people might like to speak tonight. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Opposed or undecided, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
John Rutherford, 62 Brown Wall Road. I just want to state that it could be a Dunkin' Donuts in the future, and we can't trust any other board, might not, you can't let them have a drive-through, because it probably will be a Dunkin' Donuts. And there was a meeting tonight about the transitional orientated district in North Quincy, where they're going to build maybe like 700 more units right where North Quincy train station
Same
is.
topic, John.
Okay. Well, the main thing is that, just deny this. I can already tell you guys aren't going to approve this anyway, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Opposed or undecided? Second call, third call. All upon the hearing closed. I'm just not happy. I'm not happy with the whole flow of the thing. It's like, it's just, to me, it just don't work. And it's not a good place for it, and I'm opposed.
I am too opposed also.
Likewise. Opposed.
Counsel?
Would I have an opportunity to withdraw this matter without prejudice,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Certainly I understand the board's concerns and the neighbors' concerns, but I'd like to have an opportunity to talk with my client, decide whether or not there's an opportunity to redesign it in some other fashion. But would respectfully request the opportunity to withdraw.
I'll give you that. I don't want you to drive in that area right there. Not that road right there. It just don't work. There's nothing, you've got enough there. And the people, there's enough for the people there. It's real.
I understand.
But that was
Thank you.
bigger. Do we have a motion with our please?
In matter number 16-066, Park Square Realty Corporation for a special permit to construct a drive-through where it will serve the existing Panera Bread on the premises number 200 Hancock Street. I make a motion to withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
Motion, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? So moved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, counsel. going back to old business, case number 16037. I'm sorry, yeah, yes. 45 Shannon Street. Is the applicant and representative here? Do I have a motion to dismiss, please? Counselor, you'd like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know, Marty, that you, and so for the record, Honorable Forest Ward 1 Counselor, Marty, I know that you and I have had multiple conversations over the last 6 months that this has been on your agenda. I see that we have some new faces here at the zoning board. And so I just want to confirm, 45 Shannon Street, there is not anyone representing the applicant in the audience. So this is a pretty how's representation here. We're all familiar with 45 Shannon Street. It's been boarded up for 2 years. This applicant, there's neighbors here of interest, and I hope that if you haven't driven by and seen how bad it is, you understand it's one of the worst plights in this community. It's sinking the whole neighborhood. So they had a variance. It expired. We called them out. Mr. Duker and I have been working with the Attorney General's office. The applicant comes in. Okay, we're going to start working with you. Here's my demolition contractor. We couldn't even get him to mow the lawn. We finally get the lawn mowed. He assured us for 6 months, we've kicked this can down the road because we want to see this property improved. What I'm asking for tonight at this point is I'm here to express my opposition. Enough extra chances. They didn't even have the gall to show. So for me, I'm looking for not an opportunity to withdraw without prejudice, but a no vote to their application. I want this board to send a message that you're not taking advantage of the Housenick neighborhood. We appreciate your opportunity to subdivide and make a profit. Shape soil topography, no need for zoning. This was an opportunity for this applicant because we wanted improvement in the neighborhood. They didn't work with us. And at this point, I can't give them another chance. So my ask this evening is that we have a no vote for 445 Shannon Street. Maybe then they'll be responsive to myself, Inspector Duker, and the Attorney General.
Margaret, here's what I'm afraid. If we do that, now you got these neighbors that are gonna sit here for 2 years. Again, they can't come back here for 2 years.
Okay.
What do you do with that property for 2 years? I think
So
he's
he
waited
can-
long enough. No, I know that, I know
Yeah.
that. We can put restrictions on him, he's being fined, he's just gotta get fined again and again and again. We need to write more tickets. That's what we gotta do this guy. We gotta write tickets and just get him to pay money. But I don't wanna throw away a project that's gonna help the neighborhood.
So
And I don't think you do either.
But he
But
doesn't
what do
need
you
to
do afterwards?
he doesn't need to subdivide and build 2 homes. Somebody
No,
could
he
go in
don't.
and renovate,
He
and
don't.
that's a beautiful, it's a
He
great
don't.
lot.
Right.
So he doesn't have to have the entitlement
I know
of a
that.
subdivision for 2.
I know that.
You know, I wish there's other builders in the, I wish they were here, that there's someone who would make them an offer.
Someone else bought it. Yeah,
I do too. So how about that? Does the applicant, let's say there's a no vote, is the applicant precluded from selling it and a new applicant
No.
able to?
No.
No, if the variance gets denied.
No.
I don't know what to do. I mean, so Jay, to the point of the tickets, I mean, we have ticketed this guy. The city's brought him to court. The city has invested thousands of dollars in staff time and resources to this address. And myself, the amount of phone calls, whether it's from neighbors, whether it's site visits, or taking time with the contractor, with the realtor. I mean, at what
It's frustrating.
point?
No question, it's frustrating.
So can we withdraw it? Can we close it out and put it off the books?
We'll do it.
I-
Is that what you want, council? We'll do that. I'm just kind of worried about it. It worries me.
I'm with you, because if some other builder came to me and said, Counselor, here's me, I'll buy this project, I'll take it on, I see the opportunity there. But how much patience do you give this guy? I mean,
Exactly. I feel the same way. It's frustrating.
so tonight I wanted everyone to be here, this is the end of the road. He knew if that property was not demolished, I'm here to oppose this project. Somebody wants to pick this project up and go, the neighbors support a redevelopment of this parcel. This parcel is oversized, there is an opportunity, something else could be done there, there's an opportunity for investment. I've actually had others say to me, I'll buy it. The guy doesn't show up, he doesn't answer our phone calls, he wasn't responsive to the Attorney General. I mean, how do you get him to bring this property into compliance?
Well, that's what I'm afraid of.
I'm with you. I'd like to leave it open for future applicant, but for this applicant, we gotta close this books. It's been on your books for over 6 months.
And that's what he's saying. Once we deny this, we're not going to come back here with something changed radically. It's not going to happen here because of what it's done, probably
Yep.
really what he's done to the board. So this guy has to sell that property, and what loss is he going to take till he says yes, and how long do we have to wait as a community to say yes? You know, sometimes I feel, personally, Housenick needs that fixed as fast as possible. So do we bite our nose to spite our face?
So I'm in the
That's
same
what I'm
position.
saying, what happens? If
So-
we wait 2 years,
How-
these people gotta live with that rat-infested Or did we ask the police department to burn it down?
Good idea.
Or a neighbor in the audience, maybe? If you wouldn't mind, Jay, can you just give an input as to what, this has been our 54 Spring Street in 45 shed lights in the city. We've spent a lot of time on them. We felt like we were finally getting the owner to work with us. And
I'll only say that the value of the property right now rests because it's 2 lots. The fact that it is 2 lots, but that is expired.
Yeah.
The new applicant, if there's an owner, could come forward and have a proposition to build 1 house. That would be
Right.
entirely different. I don't know if this existing owner can sell it for that kind of money to build 1 house. So those are the only things I would consider. It's a good point. I don't know if it'll ever be 2 lots again. I don't know what kind of appetite the neighborhood has or whatever, but that's where the value lies in.
the neighborhood appetite is take the worst house in the block and make it the best. And if that means make it 2, because we understand the value, we're gonna support that, as we did the last time. But now we need progress and we need movement. So we've had 2 years of stagnant, no activity, ignoring your ownership responsibilities, can't mow the lawn, the health department's been there, the city's been there, boarded it up. It's on our abandoned buildings list. We don't have the authority to demolish it, to condemn it.
I think it might be worth considering just voting it down without prejudice. It enables somebody to come back before the 2 years is up with a proposition to rebuild it for two lots again. In the meantime, we can work to see if we can do something with the Attorney General, ticketing.
So vote it down without prejudice, leaves the door open.
Leaves the door open.
I'm open to that. To me, I can see, and others in the neighborhood have said to me, geez, if he'll sell it, I'll buy it. And these are people who have built other houses in the neighborhood, who live in the neighborhood, who would do right by the project. But I have zero credibility for this applicant as to completing a project. He can't mow the lawn.
I know you've been frustrated, I'm frustrated, but I think if you vote it down outright, I don't think that's going to affect this person's ability to sell it as 2 lots.
Okay.
Or any chance of having.
So my motive tonight is, let's get this off the books. I'm sick of seeing it on the agenda, and as it is with this applicant, I can't support it. So if that's a no vote without prejudice, leaving it open, I would appreciate the board supporting that.
Thanks. Can I have a motion, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Matter number 16-037 by Caruso Architects. For variance to demolish an existing single-family home and garage and construct 2 single-family dwellings on the premises number 45 Shannon Street, Quincy. Make a motion to deny without prejudice.
Second?
Second that.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Further on to tonight's agenda, Richard Unknown, Sterling Construction Development for a special permit floodplain to build a 2-townhouse structure in the floodplain enclosed garage premise number 13. Is the applicant or representative here? Counsel, you have
Chairman,
the
and
floor.
members of the board, my name is Bob Hines, I'm an attorney, I represent Unknown here, the principal of Sterling Construction Development. If you're aware, what he's proposing is to build a residence B area, 7,500 square feet, a 2-family, 2 townhouses. We met with the neighbor, we met with the city, the board councilor. 15 Kilby Street right now, as you speak, is an older house. What he proposes to do is build a house, this one exactly as you see here in front of the board, with the entrance being on Kilby Street. There will be also a view of the ocean from the right side, if you're looking on Kilby Street, so people can see the ocean. The only variance we're looking for is the FAR, because he wants to build 1,500 square feet units that are allowed for 3 bedrooms. There's going to be 2-car garages for both these units. So everything, it complies with everything but the FAR. We met with the neighbor, we met with the ward councilor, who's outside right now, and discussed the issues. Nobody was against it. One of the concerns they had is the first time when we met, the entrance here was proposed, the front entrance was going to be on C Street. And she had asked that we change the entrance, so Mr. Arnold did change it to on Kilby Street. So the entrance will be, the official entrance will be from Kilby Street. That was the only issue the neighbors had. They were happy that he was going to take this building, make it into something nicer. Not that the owner, previous owner, didn't have some nice, but it was an older building. Again, it's snow out, and the council's here, I did explain how we had a neighbor meeting. The concern was the entrance on C Street, we changed it to Gilby Street. And other than that, I think the neighborhood that was there, that saw it was a nice building. It was gonna bring, it's right in the corner too, so it's gonna bring a nice view to the city. It's again, he's done an incredible job at other locations. He's getting involved in Quincy. We actually spoke at a meeting about the property that you had before you, right before, that he would take consideration to look at that down the road. So we're asking the board could grant the variance. Again, it's a minor variance, and we're gonna make a whole building look much nicer.
Thank you, Council. Any questions? No? Thank you, Council. Is there anyone want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak in favor? First call, second call. Third call, no. We have a letter from the DPW.
We reviewed the submittal for the above referenced project, and our comments are as follows. 1, specify how much impervious area will be increased due to the development. 2, provide plans showing the existing site conditions, layout of utility, grading, drainage, and construction details. Explain how the surface runoff will be discharged and treated. Install survey monuments of the delineate public right-of-way. The monuments shall be set by a professional land surveyor. Provide dimensions and grades for the paving area and all driveway entrances. Apply stormwater connection permits from the Department of Public Works before construction. Upon completion of the project, as-built plans showing all utilities, building footprints, reference bounds, and benchmarks, providing the total site, facilities, and right-of-way need to be submitted along with a digital file. The as-built plans shall be stamped and signed by a professional land surveyor or professional engineer.
Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided? First call, second call.
I just have a question,
Name and address.
John Rutherford, 62 Grand Wall Road. So you're tearing down the house that's there currently?
John?
How many square feet?
Ask us.
How many square feet is the house they're tearing down?
John, it's a big lot. It's 10,000 square foot lot. It's a little house.
Okay, so and how much is the square footage of the base floor of the new house
3,000
you're putting on?
usage.
I mean, am I correct that this is in a flood zone?
Yes.
Okay, so they do need a floodplain variance too,
Thank you, John.
correct? Okay, I'm just gonna say, as a citizen, I'm against developing, you know, if they wanna stay within the same footprint and go up, that's fine, they have the right to do that, but that let people increase their footprint and take away land, you're just gonna transfer the water to the neighbors, and even though that is business B, that's more of a residential area as far as, I mean, residential B is, it's a residential area, but
Thank you.
I'm against developing in the flood zone, we cannot develop in flood zones. Thank you.
Thank
Well, good evening, me again, Marta LaForest. So developing the flood zone is smart development in the flood zone. So today we have a non-compliant property in the flood zone. It's zoned Residence B. This isn't an opportunity for more density. Residence B allows for multifamily housing. They're not asking for anything other than what their zoning allows for. This is taking a tired, old house-neck property and bringing it into compliance and bringing it into FEMA compliance, and they've already received their Conservation Commission approval. We did have a neighborhood meeting with an opportunity. My biggest concern is a lot of times when you're looking at lots, how, and I think we've changed the ordinance, Jay can correct me, that you used to have kind of the butt end of the house facing the street and running it linear. And that was the request out of this is, no, we need your front door facing Philly Street, and they've updated the rendering per the comments. And that what was the only question or concern at the meeting was why a two-family, zoning allows for it, let the front door, we wanted to make it feel like a street in the neighborhood. I have to tell you, I'm here to a lot, there's great investment happening, as you hear on the agenda tonight, in the house-neck neighborhood. Thank you for your
Thank you, Council. Is there anyone else opposed or undecided? Walk out of here and close. Council, something to say?
Just, the council said that we did go before the Conservation Commission, got all the approvals there. We knew it was in the floodplain, so we resolved all those issues.
I think it's a good piece, it's a nice big piece of property for a lot, for 2 units. I know people try to build, and I live in that community, and I think it's a nice project. Are we voting yes?
I'll be voting in favor too, Mr. Chairman.
Likewise. In favor.
Do I have a motion, please?
Item number 16-065, Richard Arnott, Sterling Construction and Development, for a special permit floodplain variance to build a two-house structure in floodplain and enclosed garage in premises number 13 Kilby Street, Quincy, and made a motion to grant special permit to floodplain variance.
Second.
Second. On the motion? All in favor? Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, for you, thank you to the board. Yeah, I'll congratulate your grandmother.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Thank you.
the clerk is finally a grandmother.
Yeah.
Hey.
Public information now.
Further on the new business, case number 16069. William Lyden, 51 Pawsey Street. The applicant and their representative here.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Mike O'Neill. I'm a lawyer with the firm of McGregor and Legere, 15 Court Square, Boston, Mass. We do environmental and real estate law and litigation. I have emailed a letter to the board this afternoon. I have copies in case each of you haven't gotten it yet.
Say what you just said, you mailed
I'm an
us a
attorney.
letter?
I'm an attorney.
No, you mailed us letters
I
today?
emailed the letter to the...
Today?
Yes, I did. I have copies.
Thank you.
This is an appeal of a building permit for the construction of a single-family house. The application is to build a large 2.5-story house. The applicant demolished the previous house, which was a smaller house, about 3 months ago. And the house violates the front yard setback requirements and the side yard setback requirements. Mr. Lyden owns the property immediately next door at 49 Quincy Street. His mother lives in that property. The required front yard setback is 25 feet. What's provided is 17 feet. The side yard requirement is 13 feet. What's provided is 4 feet on the west side and 5.5 feet on the east side. And the plans that were submitted actually acknowledge the fact that it does not comply with the side yard and front yard requirements, and that it requires a variance. Now, in the lot, I will also point out that the lot is already undersized. It was an existing lot. The required street frontage is 75 feet, and what it has is 50 feet. It was an existing lot, so they're entitled to do that, but it just exacerbates the problem. So next to Mr. Lyden's house, it's 5 feet. It's going to be impinged upon the privacy of him and his mother. It's very tight quarters. It's a 2.5-story house. Now, we understand, unfortunately, that Mr. Bertone has a wheelchair, and we don't know exactly why or the reasoning that the building permit was issued, but we're just speculating that perhaps it was because of the fact that he was in a wheelchair. Well, 48 Section 3 says that front yard and side yard requirements of the zoning bylaw do not apply for a handicap access used solely for access for ingress and egress. So that means that that protection is just for a handicap ramp. What you have here is not a handicap ramp. You actually have stairs in the side yard requirement. You have stairs going from the ground floor to the second floor. So that's not a handicap ramp. On one side, you have the house, the full length of the house going all the way out into the side, into the side yard requirement. So you have a 50-foot lot to begin with. You're going all the way out, 4 feet on one side, 5.5 feet on the other side, in an undersized lot to begin with. It's not in keeping with the neighborhood. It's not in keeping with what was there before. It was a much smaller house there before. So we request that you vacate the allowance of the building permit.
Any question you have?
No,
Now,
not this one.
his property is 5 feet off the property line?
5.5 feet.
Now, are we talking about the handicap ramp in your side?
No, there's no,
That's on the other side, right? He's 13 feet off your side, correct?
no, he's 4 feet on one side and 5.5 feet on.
Well, that's with the handicap ramp, correct?
But I'd like to say that that's not a handicap, there's stairs there. According to the plan, there are stairs.
I hate to say it, I have contacts and I still can't read this. And I tried the other day and I said, I'm gonna get up there and I had to fly away and I flew back this morning. And I didn't get up there to see about it, so I could read. This is bizarre.
So counsel, what you're saying is that these aren't, this is not a ramp, this is a staircase.
Yes.
The gentleman has a wheelchair.
Yes.
So I know you probably don't know this either, but how is he supposed to get up the stairs?
That's a good question. I don't know why, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But all I know is what the plan says.
It's going to be a ramp. It's
Well-
going to be a ramp.
Well,
Wait a minute, can you get this?
all I know is what the plans say.
Right.
The plans say it shows stairs. And so that is not a handicap ramp.
Thank you, Council. I'd like to, if I could have the applicant, what I'm looking at here. The stairs, could you please get a state name and address you develop?
Yes. James Dunn, 167 Babcock Street, Quincy. I've been working on this project with John. The council is right, it does show stairs. We have talked with Mr. Duca regarding that. That's going to be changed in the field to a handicap ramp. The applicant, the council is absolutely right. That is how close the house is to the property line, but it's further away than the existing house was, okay, and the setbacks, further away than the existing house was.
What was
That's
the
all
other
I'll
house
say.
before?
The other house before, Mr. Chairman, was like 3 feet from the property line. The councilor's mother's house is 1 foot from the property line. This is a neighborhood which you're aware of, Mr. Chairman, House Neck Cottages. Okay, they're all built out of General Dynamics, pallets and everything, and they're right out to the property line. And Mr. Petoni, unfortunately, he's in a wheelchair, and we are going to, I talked that to Jay, I asked Jay if I had to amend the permit. That's something we're gonna work with Rob Conlon on the fly, so to speak, as we do the construction. Irregardless if it's stairs or if it's a handicap ramp, he still has the right to that egress being on that side of the property, I believe. I never studied years in college as an attorney, but the gentleman has a right to egress his property, and that is going to be his emergency egress. In the basement, there is going to be a lift for John to get up and down. So that is an emergency egress.
That's internal. The lift is going to be internal.
Internal, in the house, sir. So that is his emergency egress, loss of power or behavior. We will do whatever it takes to be compliant. We could do that and turn that around and put a turnaround there and put that handicap ramp right on top of the fence. This is the letter of the evil. We could put it on top of the fence, okay,
Put
and
a
make a
5-foot ramp,
turnaround.
you got 5 feet.
Yes, and we could put a 5 feet turnaround up there to make it turn and go up. This is like we said, this is a very close neighborhood. You're gonna hear from a lot of people that actually live there. There's people here in the audience that actually lived there, grew up with Mr. Vitoni and his wife, and they're in full support. And before this permit was issued, Jay went down and looked at the old house, and it was granted with a finding. And that's why we're here
That's why
today.
we're here.
And that's,
Thank
thank you.
No, no,
Mr.
one
Wait,
minute.
whoa, everybody wait, Mr. Duca, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
If you could explain to us why you gave a permit, I would appreciate it.
For the record, Jay Duca, Director of Inspection Services. So I granted this permit under our ordinance 3.4, which addresses pre-existing non-conforming structures. This structure is built mainly in the same footprint. It's moved a little further from the house on the left side, and it maintained basically 13 feet from the house on the right side, sorry, on the right-hand side. With the handicap ramp, it encroaches further to that house on the right-hand side. And, but I just want to mention that, under Section 6 of 48, there is vested rights for this pre-existing non-conforming structure. I issued the permit with overwhelming neighborhood support from the ward councilor and several neighbors. It's built on the existing footprint, which it has vested rights, and except for the handicap ramp, which is why it's here before you tonight.
All right, and the handicap ramp here, which is a set of stairs, is that inclusive in the zoning of AMA for the handicap?
No, so primarily, you could build on the existing footprint, and then anything with the handicap ramp is exempt from any zoning.
Right, but a stair is considered handicap. I don't know.
It specifically says in the law a handicap ramp.
Right. So
That's
this,
what this is gonna be.
This will be, we did talk about that, it does show stairs. This is going to be a ramp.
it's gonna be a ramp,
Yes.
but
It has to be.
what we have here is stairs.
Exactly, yes, that's correct.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
No comment this time. Thank you.
Any questions?
No question.
Any other? Any questions? I want to let, I think the board heard that. Now, is there anyone in support? Support, I mean support, not of, let's get it so everyone gets it. Because it's written backwards. A permit was given. So if you're in support of the permit that was given, please step up here.
Not in support of the appeal that's
Not
before
in
you.
support of the appeal.
So,
Let's get this, so anyone that's in favor of this house being built, and we can write it accordingly in there, so people don't get confused.
favor of the permit. So,
Favor of the permit.
correct, okay, so I think, one, we have a large audience here, and as a ward counselor, I just wanted to let her show of hands and whether we could have them all speak and
No,
say
they
their
can all
support.
speak and state their name and address.
All right, so whoever would want, I'll let you speak, state your name, and let you just say I'm in support, and then I'll wrap up with comments. So otherwise, if you don't want to speak and you just want to wave your hand in support, if you're
Well, I
sitting in
think
the audience,
if
you're
everyone
welcome
comes
now.
up and states their name and address.
Name and address, great.
And they can speak.
Sure. John Petoni, I'm the applicant. I just wanted to mention, during the Conservation Committee meeting, Mr. Wyden was in full support of this. He came and actually spoke on our behalf of building this foothouse up, so.
Thank you.
Frank Rotoni, John's father. I spoke to an architect. He looked at the plans. He was happy with the plans. He says, if you put a ramp, it's got to be a minimum of 112 feet. He said it is going to start at the fence and go to the house. He said it's 112 feet with the turnaround. He said that's the minimum. He said it might even have to come further. He said, but you are going to have to start on the property line. He said the best way is to do this and put a chairlift on the stairs. And that's the way he felt was the best way. He felt it was within the law that way. And if not, he says then you can go to the disabilities or law group.
Now I'm confused. Easily done. So this is not really a ramp, it's a lift.
No, he's talking about inside.
Oh, inside, I'm sorry.
No, the inside's gonna be a lift. He's gonna put a lift on this chair now, on the stairs instead.
That was a suggestion by.
So that's what originally was gonna be done.
But he says if you put a ramp, it's gonna be, the full side of the yard's gonna be all ramp, nothing to do about it.
All right, you guys all right? That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Petoni. Mrs. Petoni?
So, name and address for the record, if you'd like to add comments, add comments.
Joe Salamini, 173 Rhoda Street, Quincy, Mass. Friend of John for as long as I've been alive anyway. That's my father. Full support.
Erin Goodwin, 66 Pleasant Street. Totally.
I see Crispo, 58 Pleasant Street, directly across the street. I saw the plans. I have no objections.
My name is Barbara Joey, I'm John's mother. Also residents in the neighborhood.
What side do you want?
Robert Kane, 155 Rock Island Road, lifetime Housnack resident. Just want to show my support for John and family.
Mr. King?
So I think I'm a frequent flyer here, and I think what you can say about the house next, we have great neighbors, and our neighbors step up and we all support each other. And why we want to build in our neighborhood and stay in the neighborhood and not leave, is for exactly that reason. Here's an opportunity that the Bertonis have taken, who not only do John and Randy live in this home in this neighborhood, the parents are in the neighborhood, the siblings on both sides, the parents are in the neighborhood. This is a family that's committed to Housnack and to the Housnack community and are involved and engaged in our community. Here's an opportunity for them to make a dream home. We talked about building in the floodplain, a tired old Housnack cottage that's now going to be built and built FEMA compliant. We talked about the Conservation Commission and Mr. Lyman coming in and expressing his support. What I'm not sure if got communicated here is that the DEP issued a superseding order of conditions that changed the footprint of the property, of the project, and also pushed back the timelines. We talked about the delay process. I just want to be clear, I spoke in support with Mr. Duker of the finding initially. And this is if we didn't issue findings in advance, every single address in Housnack would be coming before the zoning board, and your agenda would be a lot longer. So you should just, to understand, you're passing sugar through the windows. These houses were all built on top of each other. The property adjacent might want to have improvements down line, and you're going to want these neighbors' support. And so within less of the footprint, this property has pre-existing non-conforming rights. Even with the stairs, they're within the footprint. They're compliant with their side setback. So whether there's a ramp, whether there's not a ramp, I think what we should be doing is saying, thank you to the Bertoni family for investing in Housnack. What this investment is going to do is going to improve Mr. Lyden's property value and bring another Housnack property into compliance with the floodplain. And how is it that we can keep great people in our community? I strongly urge you to vote in support of the permit and oppose the appeal this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Oh, I have one more letter of support mailed to us. Dear Chairman Akins, on behalf of myself and my husband, Jeff Briscoe, we ask that you read into the record, we fully support John and Randy Bertoni's house plans. The Bertonis are well known in the community, and their property on Babcock Street has always kept neat and clean. We fully believe their house will be an asset to the neighborhood. Thank you, Nicole Crispy. Briscoe, 55 Waters. And we'll let it get from DPW.
We reviewed the submittal for the above referenced project. Our comments are as follows. Specify how much impervious area will be increased due to the development. Provide plans showing the existing site conditions, layout of utility, grading, deck drainage, and the construction details. Install survey monuments that delineate the public right-of-way. Monuments shall be set by a professional land surveyor. Provide dimensions and grades for the paving area in all driveway entrances. Upon completion of the project, as-built plans showing all utilities, building footprints, reference bounds, and bench marks defining the total site, facilities, and right-of-ways need to be submitted along with a digital file. The as-built plan shall be stamped and signed by a professional land surveyor or a professional engineer. The elevation certificate should also be submitted if the property is in the flood zone. For information required, please stand by.
Thank you.
Hold on, Father, hearing closed. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call. Counselor, you want to say something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have a picture of that previous house, and we disagree that this is built on the same footprint.
Is your house to the left?
As you're
It's facing is to the right.
To the right.
As you're on the street, it's to the right. So I'd like
So
to,
that's the one that was right beside your house at that point?
This one you're looking at, yes.
so I'd like to point out that we pointed out 3 setback violations. Number 1, front yard. Number 2, on one side where the entire wall of the house is 4 feet from the adjacent property, and on the other side where it's 5 feet from the adjacent property with stairs. So that they're talking about one side, adding a handicap ramp on one side that doesn't account for the front yard violation and the side yard on the left. Also, handicap ramp, in order to comply with the statute, it has to be a handicap ramp used solely for access, for access and egress. So the stairs do not qualify as a handicap ramp.
Council, even if everyone seems to be in agreement that these are really just it's not going to be stairs, it's going to be a ramp.
Well, that may be the subject of some other application, but the application has to be amended then, if that's the case. You know, we can't control whether he's going to amend it or not, but what we have right now is stairs.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Duca, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would like to add that this appeal is based on the documents you have before you. No other documents could be submitted after this appeal, so you really should only be looking at the documents that you have. This is a picture. There is a plot plan showing the existing footprint, and this house is inside. It's moved forward to the front, but still within this existing footprint. That was done because the DEP, the flood maps changed, and in order to keep it out of the VE zone, it was moved a bit forward in the front, still within the vested outline of the footprint that was there. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duca. And as you noticed, he handed me an email, and I wouldn't look at it because I never received it. Thank you. Pull it out of the hearing. That's it, right? Just read the letter? No one else close for the side of the road, sir? And I understand what the neighbors saying, but, you know, also, Mr. Duca testified it was inside the non-conformity of the house that was there before, so I'll be voting to uphold his permit.
I will be.
Comment?
No. You're going to deny this appeal.
Yes.
I'm gonna, personally, I'm not
That's
holding
fine.
Mr. Duca because he said it was in the confines of the other home.
That's I'm in agreement with that. Also.
Do I have a motion, please, to deny that?
Mr. Chairman, matter number 16-09, sorry, 069, waive line for an appeal of the issuance of a building permit issued for the premises number 51 Halsey Street, Quincy. Make a motion to deny the appeal.
Second. Motion, being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Let's take 5-minute break. We get back on the record. New business, case number 16070. Michael Green for variance fire to demolish the existing garage and construct a building with 3 townhouse style condominium units on the premise number 56 Albertina Street. The applicant or representative here.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Tom Galvin. I'm an attorney here in Quincy. I have an office over at 15 Foster Street. I'm here representing the applicant tonight. Greg Hand, who's to my left. Mr. Graham is the current owner, 56 Albertina Street, showing map 3100, lot 16, block 14 on the assessors map. Currently, the property is in residence B zoning. The property is about 10,793 square feet. Currently sitting on the property is an existing home with a detached garage. The existing home was built in the early 1900s. It's approximately 1,391 square feet. The property actually abuts both Albertina Street and Grant Street down the bottom here. You can see the existing dwelling here and then the proposed structure that we're proposing tonight. With that, we would need some sort of relief. Currently, the lot width is 60. It's obviously pre-existing, non-conforming. So what we were planning on doing is trying to demolish that garage, rehab the existing dwelling. We're not going to build out on it. We're not going to add on to it. It's essentially going to be rehab. That building actually was at one point found to be an illegal home that was converted into apartments. It was later condemned by the city. Mr. Brahan then bought that. What he's looking to do is rehabilitate that into where it'd be single family in that dwelling. Currently, as I indicated, it's pre-existing non-conforming as it relates to lot width, as well as the dimensional requirements, both front, side, both the front and the side setbacks. Also, we're looking to change the use from single to multifamily. What we're looking to do is we're also looking to propose that three townhouse unit there that would actually be accessed by Branch Street. As you can see, based on the shape of the lot, it does create a hardship. You have a lot that's essentially 60 feet in width. When you look at the setbacks 25 on each side, that gives you about 10 feet to build it, which is extremely difficult. So we feel that the big hardship here relates to the shape of the lot. As it relates to the dimensional requirements, we'll be looking for variances for both the front, the side right, and the side left. The front, we're proposing to erect the structure about 13 feet from the property line. The side right would be 24.5, so we're about a half a foot off. As it goes to the side left, it'd be about 8.5 feet. Again, a lot of this is based on the shape of the lot, the reason where we can actually put the building. When looking at a lot of the surrounding areas, a lot of the surrounding homes in that area obviously built pre-zoning, so a lot of them, they're abutting either the front, they're abutting the side setback. Some of them have even greater lot coverage than we're both proposing. In addition, we're looking for a variance to the floor area ratio. What's required by zoning is 0.4. What we're proposing is 0.48. So it suggests that it's not an extreme deviation. Again, the shape of the lot's really hampering our ability to build anywhere. It suggests that that's the hardship relative to the floor area ratio as well. In addition, finally, the minimum lot area per dwelling unit. What we have, what we're proposing is 2698, but the required is 4,000. Again, that suggests this also is not an extreme deviation, especially based on, as I've indicated here already, based on the shape of the lot. It's rectangular. It makes it difficult way to place it. There's also some topography issues, the grading. In approximately 60 feet, you're looking at about a 6-foot change in the land. In addition, just to kind of, not to belabor the point, but to touch on it again, the shape of the lot, the lot area is almost 2 times the size required by zoning for lot area. But again, because of that shape, we're really hampered on where we can put things. We've met with the city councilor on this. He's not in opposition to this project. We've met with him a few times relative to this. We've also met with planning. We initially met with Mr. Duca relative to this, probably last October. We met with the planning department a number of times to develop these plans, and we feel that the way that this is developed, it wouldn't be in degradation to the surrounding areas. It's not a high-density project. We're looking at essentially converting that existing dwelling into 1 unit, and then in the new building, there'd be 3 units, so it would be approximately 4 units on the property.
You're saying the front one, you just rehab and make a single family home?
Correct.
What's your turn radius in here? Is it 24 and a half? 23, 22 and a half? 21.
Yeah, we're not looking to change the footprint of that existing dwelling. dwelling, that's just gonna stay, it's really gonna update the inside, the facade.
The berm on the pavement, on the three units, how far off the line is it? 3 feet?
3 feet.
Okay. I don't know where it is.
No.
Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
The garage on the adjacent property, the one to the, from Branch Street. Yes. Is that the last bay in that garage going to be accessible? I don't know how deep the garage is, so I don't know how long of a vehicle would go in there.
Yeah, there are 2 parking spaces in each garage.
And are they used for commercial vehicles?
No.
It's residential?
No, the one on the next property.
Existing
Yeah, the
now?
next property.
Existing.
So the existing.
See, what I'm worried about you doing is cutting off his access to that.
Oh,
lot.
no, the Branch Street is stay. These garages are here, this building.
Yeah.
You can also access them, that won't change. Access to.
But I mean, you're building a building closer to the, you know what I mean, closer to the front of those.
Yeah, I know, but he still has actually, is it concrete right here, and you can access them as it is, and there's a fence there.
Oh,
So
okay.
nothing will
Yeah,
change.
like the fence.
Yeah,
I
it's a
was
restaurant,
worried about it.
It's a catering company or something, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? How many bedrooms did you say there
2
were?
bedrooms.
2 bedrooms? Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Please step forward, say your name and address for the records, please. We can have here.
Thomas Conroy.
We have, if you could,
Oh.
we have a recorder here.
Okay. It's Thomas Conroy, 19 Burns Street. And I'm just speaking in favor, really. It's a new house and it's an improvement for the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else want to speak in favor? Second call? Third call. Call upon the hearing closed. BPW letter.
We have reviewed the submittal to the above referenced project, and our comments are as follows. Drainage. Submit a stormwater report explaining how the surface runoff will be disposed and treated. Submit calculation to show that how the proposed infiltration structures have been sized to infiltrate the required recharge volume and will drain in 72 hours. Install a catch basin or modify the grade of the entrance in order to collect all the surface runoff from the paving area. 4, the operation and maintenance plan of the drainage system should be submitted for review and recorded at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. The plan should include the financial responsibilities for the maintenance work with whom they will be vested. Apply for a stormwater connection permit from the Department of Public Works before construction. Water. Perform water flow test for the city's water department. 2, the proposed 1.5 inch service pipe is not common. We recommend 2-inch pipe to be used. Sewer. Install a clean out for the sewer service pipe. The proposed clean out for the sewer pipe should have 2 22.5 degree elbows and 1 45 degree elbow. Details can be obtained from the city sewer department. New sewer service cannot connect to the main with an angle of entry of 90 degrees. Proposed invert should be channeled inside the city's manhole and match the invert of the existing prop from the main. The angle of entry should be less than 90 degrees. Install stone or concrete survey monuments to delineate the public right of way. The monument shall be set by a professional land surveyor and shall be installed prior to the acceptance of as-built plans. Confirm the house number to be used with the engineering division of the Public Works. The house number 28 is not reserved for this lot. Upon completion of the project, as-built plans showing all utilities, building footprints, reference bounds, and benchmarks defining the total site, facilities, and right-of-ways need to be submitted along with a digital file. The as-built plans shall be stamped and signed by a professional land surveyor or professional engineer.
Thank you.
Is there anyone, call upon the hearing closed, is there anyone opposed or undecided? Step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Albert LaBelle, 68 Albertina Street.
that's, it actually could look into two items. Four family structure, which is what they're proposing. How many vehicles would that add to the neighborhood, wherever they park? And then since the gentleman's taken over the house, how many times the Quincy police have visited that house? Thank you.
Since he's taken it over?
I'm sorry, yes.
Since he's-
It was condemned, and then he purchased it, it got reopened this spring.
I don't have that information.
So it was reopened in the spring.
As what?
As a single-family house. Who was the tenants, and how many times the Quincy police have been to that house?
Maybe the owner could answer that.
I had some tenants in there for the summer, and they're gone now, I don't know, by end of August, and there was some problems with them, I admit that, but they're gone now. And as regards to parking, there'll be 2 parking spaces for each unit in the garages. There'll be 2 guest parking spaces, and all the traffic will come on Branch Street. There'll be no additional traffic on Albertina. All the traffic for this new project will come on through Branch Street.
Even in the front? Of one? I thought that was going on.
Albertina, this one unit is going to be accessed from Albertina.
Right, exactly.
2 spaces there. But all this
All the new
parking,
stuff.
all this traffic is going to be coming through Branch Street.
I thought you said all. Anyone else opposed or undecided? Second call, third call, call it part of the hearing closed. Oh, I have to go back. I have a letter here that was sent to us November 11th. Gentlemen, zoning board of appeals, applicant case number 16069, 16070, with regards to the application for a variance finding to rehab the structure in 56 Albertine Street, Quincy, in addition to constructing a 2.5-story, 3-unit condominium, in the same lot, I hereby state my opposition to such a project. I examine plans and specifications, Inspection Service Department determined that there is a possibility of up to 8 vehicles entering and leaving the property from Branch Street, not Albertina Street. There are small children who live and play in that area, Branch Street, as well as the all ambulance traffic. So the addition of more vehicles would be a further problem. I therefore request the zoning board not approve this application. Thank you for consideration. You have truly Patricia Klein, 33 Branch Street, Quincy, Mass. Put that in the record, please. And we'll call that part of hearing closed. Do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions?
I have a comment, which is the property right now looks terrible. I mean, it's just really disgusting and dangerous. There's appliances out there, air conditioners out there. This stuff really has to get picked up. You know, and I'm going to even suggest that we put that into this permitted grant today.
We've done it for 7 days. Right, put it in 7 days. It's, 2 bedrooms each. It is a small residential addition to Branch Street, which is not going to cause any havoc on that street. I'll be voting in favor.
I'll be voting in favor too, Mr. Chairman, with that provision about the property.
Likewise, as far as your comments are concerned, I can't see you spending money to renovate a place.
I'm sorry?
Regarding your comments, I can't see him spending money to renovate it and then put tenants in there are going to cause him problems. I would assume that with the investment he's going to make, he's going to be full with tenants. So, with that said, I'll be voting in favor.
There'll be
condominium.
There will be
So-
rental units.
The one up at
They'll be
Albertina?
individually owned.
The Albertina will be sold as a single family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, matter number 16-070, Michael Brown for a variance finding to demolish the existing garage and construct a building of 3 townhouse-style condominium units on the premises number 56 Albertina Street, Quincy. I make the motion to grant the variance and finding contingent on the items on the BPW letter, and that the applicant will clean the property within 7 days.
Today's hearing. Is that seconded?
Today's hearing.
Second.
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Get that cleaned up within a week.
Thank you.
Really? Case number 16071. Brian and Cheng Yang Chen for finding to enlarge unit 2 and 3, adding bedrooms, an office, and a bathroom in each unit in the third floor. Unit 1 will be unchanged on the premise 3840 Copeland Street, Quincy. Is the applicant or representative here? Step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Brian Chen, 165 Old Colony Avenue, Unit K in Quincy. My wife, Chen Yan, and the two boys are out there. We're the owners of 3840 Copeland, which is an existing three-family property. There are two one-floor units on 38 Copeland and one two-floor unit on 40 Copeland, comprising the three-family property. What we're proposing to do is the following: turning one room on the second floor of 40 Copeland into full bath. Currently, there's only one full bath in the entire unit, and it's on the first floor, which will cause inconvenience when the bedrooms are on the second floor. Second part is finishing the third floor attic to make additional livable space to allow for future family expansion. We're currently a family of 4. There is 1,120 square feet in the attic, with actually 2 rooms totaling 280 square feet that have already been finished, and it's recorded in the city records. The proposal for the attic is divided in half with the wall, giving one side to 38 Copeland second floor unit, and then the other side, the other half to 40 Copeland. When finished, we will have one bedroom, one full bath, and an office for each unit. So in this case, 38 Copeland second floor unit and 40 Copeland. Just a little bit of our current living situation. We currently live in a small townhouse with 2 boys, ages 4 and 2. My job is quite demanding. I've been working out of my living room because there's no office, which is not ideal. Every time after I put my 2-year-old to bed, I would have to come down to the living room of my townhouse to work. I worked in finance for a pharmaceutical company, and especially during budget seasons, really I have to work on the weekends and go in to work. So having an office next to a bedroom will help solve the issue. The plan is that we will move in, the family of 4 will move in 40 Copeland once the renovation is done, so that I can have a proper office on the 3rd floor and a bedroom where both my 2-year-old can sleep in. We also believe the proposed use for the property is only applicable to our own piece of land and not to surrounding properties. It will not change the spirit of the neighborhood, as this is done in its interior only. We do not believe this infringes on the neighboring property owner's rights, use, or enjoyment of his own land, because with sufficient parking and the property being an existing 3-family, I think it's only a modest renovation using existing space. When all is said and done, it will have 6 total bedrooms and 5 bathrooms for a 3-family house. So currently there's a common hallway that goes up to the 2nd floor, the 38 Copeland 2nd floor, and then the hallway leads you up to the attic. What we're doing on the blueprint is to make 38 2nd floor living room, so as you're walking through the common hallway, you're into the kitchen of the 2nd floor 38 unit,
and then go through the living room and then up to the second floor. So that makes it 38 second floor as well as 1/2 of the attic as one unit. And again, as mentioned, the first floor 38 unit is unchanged. So 40 Copeland will have 3 floors currently. We'll have 3 floors when it's all said and done.
In 2 units.
3
floors and 2 units.
1 unit, because the 38 Copeland currently is a 2 1-floor unit, but we're trying to give half of the attic to the second floor 38, so that the second floor 38 will have 2 floors, while the 38 first unit will be untouched, and then the 40 will have 3 floors. Yes.
Any questions of the applicant?
Not this time. Nice use of property.
On the, I have a question, the parking. Garage. How many spaces do we have total? 6?
So 6 parking.
And for how many bedrooms you want?
So it would be total 6 bedrooms. I mean, we have 6 parkings. I mean, obviously, it's just to show that there is enough parking space, but I mean,
The way
we
it's
won't.
laid out, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up? Thank you. Is there anyone that'd like to speak in favor? First call? Second call? Third call closed. Anything from DPW, I have a letter here, they reviewed the above reference project and have no comments. Yes, I have a letter here for Mr. Palmucci, but I was gonna put that together. Thank you. You can have a seat. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided, first call, second call, third call, closed. I have a letter here from the council, or ward council, I'd like to read it. He just sent it to us, or did it just, it's in the folder.
Dear Chairman Akins, I've been made aware of case number 16-071, 38-40 Copeland Street, Brian and Chung Young Chen. Request for a finding to enlarge unit 2 and number 3 by adding a bedroom, office, and bathroom to each unit on the 3rd floor. Has been added to the agenda zoning board of appeals. I'm writing to you to express my strong concerns to this project. The applicant has yet to reach out to me to discuss the proposal as is specified for them to do prior to filing. I take their failure to follow the appropriate steps as noted on the form provided by the building department as an indication of how they will manage and operate their property, with little regard for the community. I am aware of no reasonable justification as to why this variance should be allowed. It is my understanding that the property has been sold recently to its owner. The property was listed for sale with the current conditions. If the owner wanted a property with more bedrooms, they should have purchased a different property. I respectfully request that you deny this request. Sincerely, Brian Palmucci, Ward 4 Council.
Put that in the record. No, it's just, to me, it's just too big. It's too big for the property. I don't like the way it's laid out. I don't like the idea of offices being labeled offices when they end up bedrooms and other units.
You know, my first concern too, Mr. Chairman, is that there's a lot of, every little space is being utilized here in this plan. And I'm worried about the parking in the future. Not the parking now, but in the future, that's what I'm concerned about. And putting the whole thing together, it goes on even more.
I'm in agreement. I think technically what it ends up being is an 8-bedroom house, not a 6, because the office is current. The other 2 rooms today would be delineated as offices, but in the future, very easily could be converted to bedrooms. So I'm reluctant to vote with that condition then.
You're concerned about the number of potential bedrooms versus the number of available parking spaces.
Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, in case matter number 16-071, Brian and Chung Yang Kim for a Chen. for a binding to enlarge unit 2 and the 3 by adding a bedroom, office, and bathroom, each unit on the third floor. Unit 1 will be unchanged on the premises on 38-44 Street, Quincy. I make a motion to deny binding.
Second?
Second.
Do we have the opportunity to
Withdraw.
Go ahead, come on forward. Go ahead.
You know, the plan is for us to move in 40 Copeland. You know, the office is important for me, like you guys are saying. You know, given that the 2 rooms have already been finished according to the city records, and there's enough space in the attic, I mean, we're not really making it that much bigger. You know, the 2 existing bedrooms, it's a 280 square feet already finished. We're really just adding on 2 full bath, one giving to the 38 unit and one to the 40 unit.
Explain, wait a minute, time out. Explain to me what your request is. That's what you're standing for. Don't justify what you're building.
Yeah.
We said no.
So-
What's
so
your
we-
request, sir?
Okay, can I have the opportunity to withdraw and revise how the third floor? What would be a reasonable, because I will have to come back with a reasonable plan. Is it the office that's an issue? If I were to make it
There's too many bedrooms for
open,
that period. It's just too many bedrooms that are available that could be that potential. You sell this place tomorrow,
Yeah.
someone else comes in here, it's all bedrooms. It's
understood.
too big.
Oh.
It's just too big.
So if we come back
It's too
with,
big for the property.
So maybe you might want to think about something like
Wide open space.
an other unit, not the unit you want to live in.
okay. So the unit,
You do-
I,
And I'm
Is
just,
that a motion withdrawn without prejudice?
yes.
yes.
I'm gonna build this house.
Okay, it's matter 16-071, I make a motion to withdraw the case without prejudice.
Second it?
Second.
On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Why don't you meet with the building department?
The,
Supposed to be checked.
okay. You guys. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, further on tonight's business, case number 16072. Teresa Milano for variance to extend front of the house towards the street, one-story addition, covered porch, premise 46 and west. The applicant representative here, Steve.
Good evening, board members. For the record, Steve DeRoche, Napontet Valley Survey Associates. Our offices are at 95 White Street here in the city of Quincy. I'm here this evening with my client, Teresa Milano, who with her husband Chuck, they own this property at 46 Ramlin Street. They're proposing to do a bunch of work in the house, renovations and whatever else have you. But one thing that they'd like to do, that they're here for before you this evening, is that they'd like to put a covered front porch onto the house. The existing porch will be part of the living room area. The new porch will be, as I said, covered, but it will not be enclosed, okay? And the final thing that makes this all worthwhile is that they are in a flood zone, okay? And we are putting the new addition on pilings for a flow-through foundation. This has been before the Conservation Commission already and approved. Again, the new structure is going to be approximately 6 foot by 22.5 foot. Currently, the house is some 15.5 feet off the property line, off the street line. 11.5 feet off the street line, and the new dimension 1.5 feet on the average. Should the board have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I know what to look for, I guess. Everyone here, any questions? Covered porch, moving into keeping that porch as part of their home.
Didn't we just approve something here like yesterday?
I'm sorry?
Didn't we just approve something here yesterday or something?
Yesterday.
Well, not yesterday, but recently.
A couple of meetings ago. I like to bring the easy stuff before.
Yeah, what did we do a couple last time we were here for this property?
That was the structure next door. Yeah. Which is currently under construction.
Okay.
With a nice big red door.
Right.
There's been a lot of
Any other questions?
No, not for me.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor? Anyone like to speak in favor, please step forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Barbara Isola, 34 Ranslitz Street. I'm here to support this project along with my husband, Tim McAloon. We've lived on Ranslitz Street for about 27 years, and in looking at the plans, I believe it really does match the conformity of the neighborhood. Also, I think Ranslitz Street, from what Mike just said, is having a bit of a renaissance. We're really, really pleased to have so many young families moving on to Ranslitz Street, and I think that this project will just add to the feel of the neighborhood. We're just thrilled to support it, and I hope you will too.
Is there anyone else like to speak in favor? Here's the other one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Is there anyone else speak in favor? First call, third call, forms.
No comment.
Water here from DPW, October 18th. We reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call, opposed. I'll be voting in favor.
I'll be voting
In favor.
Have a motion, please?
Yes, it's matter number 16-072, Teresa Milano for a variance to extend front of the house towards the street with a one-story addition over covered porch on the premises of 46 Rundle Street, Quincy. I make a motion to grant variance.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, board members.
It wasn't easy.
Try to bring up for you, but
Can you bring pictures next time?
Yeah, no, yeah. Council, I hope you're getting paid by the hour.
Getting paid by the minute. You want to take another break?
Ooh!
Was that Barbara Isola, is she on the school committee? Okay.
Council?
Oh, did you call the case? I didn't hear.
Yeah.
You didn't agree when I was setting up.
Yeah.
Good evening, I know it's late, I'll try to be as quick as possible. For the record, Christopher Harrington, my law office is at 21 McGrath Highway, and I represent the Quincy Development Group LLC. Robert Matty is the manager of that LLC and one of the members. This project that you're seeing right here is Hoover Avenue, which is over in the Penns Hill section of Quincy. And it's a definitive subdivision plan application which was approved by the planning board last Wednesday night. So this project needs relief from this board as well as the planning board approval, which it has already received. This is a request for minor dimensional variances for a 4-lot subdivision of single-family homes. I'll go over to the board because it's easy to point these things out. This Hoover Avenue at this point in time ends right here. This is a 2-family house that belongs to the Almquist family. They're the owners of Almquist Flower Land, and this property is the greenhouses for the florist business. So the Almquists live in this house here. They're selling the property. Hoover Avenue ends in front of their house. So what we're proposing is to extend Hoover Avenue, build a turnaround cul-de-sac at the end of the street, and build 4 single-family homes. From the application, you can see that lot number 1 here is an 8,400 square foot lot. It has 85 feet of frontage, and we're requesting a 15-foot front yard setback for this house. This house can be fit within the box without having that front yard setback. However, we're asking for it because we think the house fits better on the lot if it's a little bit closer to the street. If this house was back here inside the allowable footprint, this house would be right next to the backyard of the Almquist's home, and it would be closer to this house right here, which is on the side street behind us. So we think that by putting this house a little bit closer to the street,
It gets this house a little bit more in line with the houses that are already on Hoover Avenue, and it provides a bigger rear yard setback, which is beneficial to this house. And also, we're asking for the same front setback relief for this house. Where these 4 houses are being built new, there really isn't anyone who's impacted by those front yards being 15 feet, except for these 4 houses, which we're building anyway. And so the second variance we've asked for is that, if you notice on your plans, right here in the back of this house, about a foot or 2 into the back of the house, it says 85-foot lot width. This house goes over that line by a foot, maybe 18 inches, where the lot is less than 85 feet wide, so that requires a variance. This lot number 2, is it's a 14,700 square foot lot. It also has 85 feet of frontage, and it has 85 feet of lot width for almost the entire area where the house is located, except this tiny strip right here. So that requires a lot width variance. The final variance that we've asked for is this lot here, number 3. We've asked for the same 15-foot front yard setback for this house. This is a 7,686 square foot lot. It also has 85 feet of frontage. But we've asked for the front yard setback for this lot because of the odd shape of this lot. It's very difficult to fit a proper sized house on this lot without that front yard setback. The rear yard setback variance we've asked for is for back here. The setback on this corner is 12.7 feet. It's 32 feet over here. The average is more than 20 feet, but this point right here is 12.7, which requires a variance. So that's the other variance we've asked for. This house complies in all respects with the zoning ordinance. So this project is, as I said, it's a 4-lot subdivision, all single-family homes. Every house will be 2.5 stories or less. Every house will be less than 35 feet. They'll all comply with all the requirements of the ordinance, except for the 3 things that we've asked for. The front yard here, the lot width here, and the front and rear yard for this lot. We believe this is a good project. It's been approved by the planning board already, approved on November 9th for definitive subdivision plan. It's been reviewed by all of the city departments. It was peer reviewed by the planning board. So the peer review engineer hired by the planning board, health department, DPW, engineering, fire department, as well as the city council. They've all approved it. We think it's a good project because it's going to eliminate a non-conforming business use in a Residence A neighborhood. It's going to permanently change the use of the property to conforming single-family homes. And all of these lots, as I said, have 85 feet of frontage on the way and are at least minimum legal size. Some are almost twice the size of minimum. So we think it's a good project and we hope you support it. My client, Bob Matty, is here, and Jim Burke, the engineer, is also here. If you have any questions about the drainage, he's here to answer them. This infiltration system back here is designed to take all the water from the extended part of the street and bring it back to this area and treat it and take care of it on site.
Thank you, Council. Any questions of council?
No, I've done.
Thank you.
No.
Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? First call.
Why?
What? What?
I would like to speak in favor of this project because this is how development should be. They're not coming here to ask for a crazy development. It's one of the few projects I've ever seen that is good development. We need new single-family homes in Quincy. We need new condos. We don't need more rentals. We don't want to be a renter city. We need places to buy. I personally myself would buy. It'd be a great place to live, But I want to say that I'm for this project because I am for good development in the city of Quincy, and this is good development in the city of Quincy. Thank you.
Thank you. How come you didn't turn it on you when you were speaking? So you get to be on TV.
No proof.
Balance.
I just want to say that I am for this project and let you know that I am not against everything in the city of Quincy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to speak in favor? Second call, third call. Call upon hearing closed. BPW letter?
Yes. I do. We have reviewed this submittal for the above referenced project and our comments as follows.
Like that, I'm like,
It is. Started at 7 this morning. Drainage. Conduct soil tests at the proposed location for the drainage structures to determine soil properties and level of water table. The soil test should be done before construction, and the drainage design and drainage report should be modified in accordance with the findings from the test. The maintenance plan shall be recorded at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Apply for a stormwater connection permit from the Department of Public Works before construction. A stormwater management permit from the Department of Public Works is required for a definite subdivision or any development in land alterations over 1 acre in area. The requested drain easement to be 15 feet wide. Water. Water test. Water flow test for the city's water department. There are some crossings on the proposed water and sewer services.
Yes.
Are there any measures to protect the water pipes from the contamination of the proposed sewer pipes? The existing sewer system on the 10-foot easement area does not have adequate flow. It has the blocking issue. Required a sewer service for 11 Hoover Ave and 12 Hoover Ave to be connected to the proposed sewer system on the street. Request a new sewer easement to be 12 feet wide. Connect the service pipe on lot 1 to a manhole. In general, install stone or concrete survey monument to delineate the right of way. The monument shall be set by a professional land surveyor and be installed prior to the acceptance of as-built plans. Construction general permit from the EPA is required for any development that will disturb 1 or more acres of land. Confirm the house number to be used in the engineering department, Department of Public Works. Confirm the width of sidewalk to be constructed. The grading plan shows 6 feet sidewalks, and drainage report specifies 5 feet sidewalk. Hoover Avenue is not an accepted street. The developer needs to identify who will maintain the roadway, sidewalk, and all utility facilities. Address the turning movement for emergency vehicles and trash collection vehicles. Upon completion of the project, as-built plans show all utilities, building footprints, reference bounds, and benchmarks defining total site facilities and right-of-way ways need to be submitted along with a digital file. The as-built plan shall be stamped and signed by a professional land surveyor or professional engineer.
Is there anyone call upon the hearing closed? Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call, closed. I really, that's a good project, Council.
I have
That's a good
one comment
project here.
one comment that's a little bit important. Almost everything in the letter was addressed in the final round of peer review, the final revised plan set. So, but there are 2 items in Mr. Chen's letter that were not imposed on us by the planning board because we did not agree to do them. One is the 15-foot easement. The planning board decided to leave that as a 10-foot easement as it's shown on the plan. The other item was that he wanted us to hook up all the houses that are on Hoover Ave to this new sewer line, which we never agreed to do. And so the DPW is not, Mr. Ramondi and the attorney for the DPW are not putting that condition on us. So I didn't want it to get into your decision indirectly as a condition of approval, that we have to hook up those houses. The issue is that the houses on Hoover Avenue, the sewer system comes down the street to this point. It runs through an easement that goes through this person's yard. It runs this way, it runs through the backyards, and it comes over here to a point here, and it runs through another easement this way out to the street and connects to the city system out here. This pipe is collapsing because of tree roots that are in the backyards of these houses. So what our project originally had our 4 houses connecting in the street and then running through the easement here and then connecting here and then heading out. And so what we agreed to do is we agreed to start our pipe here and run it down the street to this point and then run it out so that these homes, if their houses are backing up, there's a new pipe right on the street in front of them and they can hook in if they need to. So we agreed to do this pipe here and make it available for these need to, but not to actually hook all of them up.
So, Councilor, in other words, that whole letter I just read really very.
Yeah, that was a big,
Yes, yeah, but I was enjoying listening to you, so.
Especially the beginning, like I couldn't even say no.
Again, Councilor, good project. I like it. I like what you're doing. Very nice. Thank you. I'll be
In favor.
in favor, in favor.
against.
Yes.
In favor. Thank you.
Matter number 60-073, Quincy Development Group LLC, Robert Matty, manager for a variance for a 4-lot subdivision of single-family homes on premises number 12 R, I don't even know what the number is. We're at the extension. Quincy, make a motion to grant the variance. That's all I'm gonna say.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to adjourn.
Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? So moved. Thank you, gentlemen.